You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Making Liam work during a Lions game. What sound does a lion make? Roar! Let's get into it with the lead. I wasn't sure if you were going to go all out or if you were going to give me like a little like meow.
No, because that's what you did. I want people to know I'm more powerful.
That was a very good roar.
That was a great roar, Liam. Great start to the show, everybody. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. The show is presented by Bet365, the largest sports betting platform globally. Download the app. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. We got a loaded up edition of the program coming your way here on a Thanksgiving Thursday, or just a Thursday for probably most of you. But if you're down south enjoying some family time, I mean, you're probably not watching the show right now.
No, maybe later. So
yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
You got to turn the light on.
Boom. That makes such a big difference when you turn on all your lights. We were very distracted watching the Lions-Bears game, so we're very underprepared for this show. Also, what else is new?
Yeah, we showed up for the we sat down at 11:59.
Yeah.
Usually we're in there at like 11:40.
Gibbs fumbled.
Gibbs fumbled. That one sucked. Chili, we know he's one of the Americans who watches the show. Time for deep fried turkey. Careful, because you could burn your house down.
Deep fried turkey. I didn't know Chili was one of our American viewers.
We met him in Houston, in Dallas.
Oh, is that who that is? Sorry,
Yeah.
I forget the names of some people. I remember meeting them.
Him and his son.
Yes.
Everyone in the YouTube chat, what is going on? Austin was being impatient. No, never mind. That was 11:27. He commented, "Let's get her going, gents." The show starts at 12 or 12:01. What else do we got going on here? One more day to go. Yes. It's been 84 years since, says QF Pro. Tomorrow is finally a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show.
Excited. I'm actually excited to see them in Utah. It reminds me of, obviously, that when they went down and played Arizona in the Mullet Arena for the first time. Like, I've watched Utah play.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious to see what Connor McDavid looks like on that ice.
Yeah. With the fans kind of like right on top of them. By all accounts, the start in Utah has been awesome. I mean, to set the record for jersey sales, that is a fan base or an area that has really seemed to have bought in to the team. And you don't always get that when it's a relocation, right? Sometimes relocating can be, I mean, I think about like the Raiders going to Vegas and totally different markets, right? But even, I think to an extent, I know it was a return, but like, you know, the Rams and Chargers going to LA, you look at those games and it's just like a bunch of away fans, right? And I know Utah isn't the same destination that a Vegas or an LA is, but still, I think it's encouraging to see the way that Utah's really bought in early on. And that's also a pretty exciting roster or an exciting organization because like they got a lot of picks. They got a lot of good young pieces here. They have an owner now who wants to be aggressive, but we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the show.
Tomorrow, yes. It reminds me of just when Vegas went to Vegas.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like not a relocation, but just like a market that didn't really have many sports. Obviously, Utah has had the Jazz and a lot of history with the Jazz, but they never had hockey before. The one thing I never understood, though, maybe you can just tell me about this. Why did the jersey sales start so late?
Fanatics couldn't get them done in time because it was so late, right? Like you got to think they didn't launch or announce what those jerseys were going to be until.
But isn't that silly? Like for your season opener,
I think you're underestimating how difficult it is to mass produce jerseys.
I think they should have just been more prepared, not Fanatics, but the team to be like, the league should have been like, hey, like it takes this long to make this many jerseys. You need to tell us what your jersey is on this day so you can have jerseys for your season opener.
Yeah, but think of how quick everything came together.
March, April?
Yeah. And then there was like, hey, are they going to do a name? Or are they not? And then you have to like design. There's like a process to it. They had to come up with their color schemes. Like it's not, I don't think it's as easy as just like, let's sit down in a day, design a jersey. Okay, start printing them, right?
I feel like it should have been sooner, but either way.
They got him. They got him now, which is good. I cannot believe that he fumbled that football. That rattles me. Zach's in the chat. He's a resident Bear.
Also, Liam,
Bears fan.
this guy, read that.
Liam, I waved at you at K Golf last night and realized I didn't introduce myself. Yeah, the golf game actually went well. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. Do you remember waving
I remember that because this guy walked in and we kind of made eye contact and my buddies were right behind him. And that's why I like kind of stepped off to go and see my friends. And he just waved at me and said hello. Just said hello back. And then he went and played his round. I hope it went well for you as well. Best round of the year for me.
I'm itching for a little bit of virtual golf, but anyways, that's a totally different point. Here's what we got coming up today on the show. A couple of different things we're promoting. We got our guy Tyler Ennis coming up in a few minutes, probably about 10 on the Star Mechanical guest line. Jeff Marek a little bit later on in the program as well. Going to talk to him about some of the big decisions Canada has at the Four Nations face-off, the Oilers and their goaltending too. So lots to get to with our guys Jeff Marek and Tyler Ennis. Tomorrow on the show too, we got Demers and we have the coach, John Goyens, who's going to give us a film breakdown on the Oilers power play. So we got a good couple of shows to wrap up the week here. And then you're going to be getting some bonus content from us over the next little bit, or at least from me, because on Saturday, we are going to be going live from the DNVR Sports Bar in Denver, getting set for Edmonton in Colorado. So we're going to be doing kind of like what we did during the playoffs when we were on the road, the pre-game show. So it'll be like myself, Jay, BM, some other people from down in Denver who are with us on the trip. And then we're going to do that for an hour leading right up to Boardsy, who goes for an hour with pre-gaming, and then it's puck drop. So you're going to get a 2-hour pre-game show on Saturday. And then Sunday, we're going to do a special episode of Oilers Nation Radio. And then on Monday, you're going to get your usual real life. So there's a lot going on over the next few days because we got our nation vacation coming up this weekend. Look forward to seeing everybody who might be out in Denver. I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the holiday party we are throwing coming up on December 12th. I don't know if you guys know, but our office, the Oilers Nation head offices, is in a building that we own down in Riverdale. And right below us, there is a bar and a bakery. So we're going to be doing a holiday party at the bar this year for all of you, the people who watch the show, nation citizens, whoever you want to bring with you. We really don't care. But it's going to be on December 12th. So keep that date in mind, December 12th. It's a 6:30 puck drop against Minnesota. Come to Dog Patch. That's the name of the bar. We're going to be setting up a link probably in the next couple of days here because we went and did the math. With the TV setup we have, we think we can comfortably fit 30 to 36 people. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a link on Nation Gear, and you're going to be able to just for free reserve a ticket or buy a ticket. I also confirmed we're going to have something from Sports Closet just for you showing up, and a free box of Oodle Noodle, a coupon. So Oodle Noodle, Sports Closet. There's going to be a reason for you to come. We're also going to have Nation Beer on special the whole day, all day happy hour. We're going to have the Nation Burger on special as well.
What is that?
It's a burger.
Oh.
They always change it up at Dog Patch.
Yeah,
it'll be amazing, whatever it is.
Burger they had that once was unbelievable.
So we don't have the link ready yet. We're working on that behind the scenes at Nation Gear. But when we do launch it, we're basically going to have 30 spots, maybe 36 spots open for people to reserve. You can buy, I think we'll set the limit at 4 tickets. So if it's like you and a group of 3 friends, boom, you're good. And yeah, we're going to have ourselves a holiday party coming up on the 12th. Speaking of which, if you want to be the best dressed one at that party, you can go to nationgear.ca today and pick up our Ho Ho Hope Will Never Die holiday sweater. Look at that bad boy. You'll be the best dressed person at any holiday party you go to with that. Get it now, nationgear.ca. Use the promo code Tyler10 to get yourself 10% off. And also keep it locked on nationgear.ca because we have a new Black Friday collection dropping soon. Aaron, we're allowed to show it.
They are on the website right now. Well.
It launched today. Giddy up.
They're on there.
Giddy up. The My City collection is out now at nationgear.ca. That is the all black version of things. Go check it all out. I want to go see. Yeah, I like these ones. That white crew neck or white t-shirt, sorry, that is really sharp. I like that. We also launched some more blackout gear. So we got an all black Hope Will Never Die sweater as well.
Those are cool. I did actually go out of my way yesterday to look at our email and see what these were all about.
Our boy,
our Black Friday stuff. Yeah, our Black Friday stuff is always pretty sweet. I'm a big fan of our Nation Gear.
Yeah,
I like this one the most, but I showed my buddies yesterday. They are all like the gray ones.
Yeah,
the gray ones are cool, but the black.
We don't do a lot of stuff in orange and blue anymore, so I do kind of like also the colored.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. I like those a lot. Great job, team.
Good job, Nation Gear team. Check it out, nationgear.ca. We got a sale running for Black Friday as well. Okay, let's continue along, Liam. Giant question for the day. The people are here for hockey talk, so let's give it to them. Our giant question brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Hockey fans helping hockey fans. How about Nation Valet Service? Never have to leave your house or your place of work. You just call Sherwood Ford, even if you didn't buy your vehicle there, even if it's not a Ford. Say, hey, example, I need an oil change and I need the valet service. They say no problem. If you're in the Edmonton area, they come pick up your vehicle, drive it to the dealership, do the work, boom, drive your vehicle right back to you. One of the many great reasons why you should make sure for the Giant your next dealership. Your Giant question today, yesterday we did player grades for the forward. So today we're going to slap player grades on the defensemen, Liam. The Oilers have had 7, I guess if you count Josh Brown, 8 different defensemen play a game for them so far this season. But let's start at the top. And we'll just go in order of what Daily Faceoff has. Mattias Ekholm is the first defenseman on our list. An interesting start to the season for Mattias Ekholm. And here's what I'll say with him, because he's got this year and one more on his deal. He is 34 years old. And while he is relatively early in his Oilers career, I think it is important to, when we consider how Ekholm has played and where he could go from this point on, he is getting to the back couple of holes of his career, the last few holes of his career. Could he play until he's 38? Could I see him signing another deal in Edmonton one day? Absolutely. But I also do think we eventually need to start tempering our expectations with him as he gets older. Again, 34, very young in normal person life. 34, relatively old in the life of an NHL defenseman. So with that being said, Ekholm does have 10 points in 22 games. He's done some things well. I think he's had some tough games, and I do think that the Ekholm of last year does cover for some of Bouchard's defensive miscues a little bit. And there also is the point of when Bouchard's at his best, they spend less time in the D zone. So Ekholm gets to make less mistakes as well, or fewer mistakes. But where would you grade Mattias Ekholm, Liam?
I think I would give him a B, maybe a B plus. It would be the highest I would go. I think he's been obviously very reliable, probably the most consistent Oilers defenseman for every game so far. And then I just think there's been a couple of games where it's like, okay, I would have liked you to have been better on this goal. And Bouchard has kind of taken a lot of slack for that stuff. When really, I think Ekholm has maybe been more the problem in some states too. But he's still been really good. And like I said, he's 34 years old and he has made up for Bouchard on some moments too. So I'll stick with B plus.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with a nice solid B. No, I think I'll go B plus with you. I want to go a little bit higher. He's been good. And again, I love Evan Bouchard. I'm still very high on Evan Bouchard. I do think the people who are sitting there, and I saw our social question was put out of who's been the Oilers' best defenseman, and there are still people being like, it's Evan Bouchard. Look at the numbers. Look at the analytics. It's still Bouchard. I think you're ignoring what you're watching a little bit too much and just going right to the numbers. Yeah. Evan Bouchard has not been their best defenseman. He has had some big time mistakes.
Big time.
And again, Mattias Ekholm is there to cover for that. At the end of the day, with Ekholm on the ice, the goals are 23-19. I know Bouchard's 21-17. We're not talking Bouchard though. We're talking Ekholm. They are the only two defensemen at 5-on-5 this year who have outscored the opposition, or the Oilers have outscored the opposition with them on the ice. So yeah, I think B plus is fair for Ekholm. Remember that where there was that stretch where he was on the ice for a ton of goals against, and you talked about it. Like we were all on Darnell Nurse for a bit in the first few weeks of the season. Ekholm's numbers were not much better in terms of goals against. So I'll give Ekholm a B plus. Evan Bouchard, where are we coming out on this one? Because again, the fancies look good, but we all know how many tough moments there have been for Evan Bouchard defensively and in transition. Offensively, this has not been the start or the production that we're used to from Bouch, who's sitting there right now with 15 points in 22 games. Again, that is very good, but the bar is higher for Evan Bouchard. Similar when we grade Connor McDavid. Not that they're on the same level here, but like, I want Evan Bouchard to be a point-a-game guy. I want Evan Bouchard to be getting pucks through on the power play. I think a lot of the power play struggles can be pointed to Evan Bouchard and his lack of ability to get pucks through traffic. So I'll give Evan Bouchard a C.
I would agree. I think
it's not as bad. People who are going to be sitting and probably commenting like D or F, that is a gross overreaction. Your expectations are higher for the players. You need to keep that a little bit in mind. But Evan Bouchard has not been good, and there's been some bad moments. And yeah, I think C+ is fair.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. I agree. I think with Bouchard, like his errors are just so glaring in moments. Like a lot of them just end up in the back of the net most of the time, right? Yeah. And it's just like kind of sucks. He's had a difficult first 20 or so games of the season, and I agree with what you said too. Like his lack of adjustment on the power play of just like firing into shin pads all the time is not helpful by any means. And he's lost his spot on the power play in some nights too, where Ekholm has come on and played with those other 4 guys. So I think C+ is good. When he's at his best, he's obviously an A+ player, but we've seen that one maybe twice so far this season. Yeah. I say the Islanders, he was really solid. Even Ottawa, when he scored that sick goal the other day, he wasn't even that good defensively. So
he is still averaging 8.45 blocked shots for every 60 minutes he plays.
He knows those don't count for anything, right? Well, those aren't positive stats.
They count as shot attempts, Corsi events.
Sure, get those bumped.
Maybe he knows that. But again, like need a little bit more there. Let's keep cruising along here and get to a few more players. I don't really want to do like the Stetcher, Dermott, Brown. There's really not a lot there.
I will give all of them a C-.
There you go. Blanket statement. Darnell Nurse.
This is such a difficult one.
First few weeks, not good.
I think maybe.
But the first few weeks were shit for the whole team.
B-, C+, like in that range too, I think
he deserves a B.
Put him as a B. I'll say B-.
I'm giving him a B+.
I just think injury wasn't helpful. He was getting good then. And then he came back and obviously had that really good game, but he was part of that penalty kill as well. It sucked. And I think we put that on a few of the forwards yesterday too. Yeah. So I'll say, to balance it out, B-.
I can agree with a B- here. Again, I think when he went out, we kind of saw like, whoa, boy, as much as people can bitch about a contract and all that stuff, and remember, you'd all sign it too.
Yeah.
B-, I think, is fair. When we had to see this blue line without him, you were wincing a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't nice.
Brett Kulak. Aaron wants to go A+.
It's absolutely an A+.
I don't know about A+, just because at the end of the day, still third pairing guy. They have flipped him over to the right side. I like that he's been able to deal with that a bit better than he did in the playoffs. He's got 4 goals on the year, which is already the most he's ever scored in a season with the Edmonton Oilers. He scored 3 and then 3 the year before that. So that's crazy. He's been eating some tough minutes, averaging 19-14. I'll go A-.
I'm going A. I just think you look around. He has he's contributed offensively, which is a shock. He's been bumped up to Nurse's line and played well with him. He's helped Ty Emerson kind of come around. He's very reliable. Like, you just know what you're getting from him. And I think when you have expectations, my expectations for Brett Kulak is to come out, play great defensive hockey. Mm-hmm. So for that, it is a B+. But when you add the idea of like, this guy has 4 goals, I think you got to bump him to it in the A category.
He's switching sides. He basically does everything you ask him to do, and he does it well.
Who was it yesterday that we were talking about with Frank? Or maybe it was a different guest. Maybe I'm forgetting. And we were just like, this guy is just like a number 4. Oh, it was Brandon Carlo. Like, he is your number 4 guy.
Lock him in.
He ain't going anywhere else in your lineup. And that's exactly how I feel about Brett Kulak. Like, I know you can bump him up to your top 4 at a push if you really need to, but like, everyone knows that guy is just the Oilers' 5th spot defenseman, and he's great at it.
Yeah. Last one we got here before we get to our first guest of the day is Ty Emberson.
It's a tough one.
Well,
for good reasons.
Yeah, but so like very similar to like I think Nurse and Ekholm, where it's like, hey, the first few weeks were bad, and I think some people kind of like raised an eyebrow and were like, whoa. The numbers people and the scouting reports we heard were like, well, this guy's going to be just as good as Cody Ceci. And the first few weeks were not what we had hoped for. But then now that I'm sitting here and I've watched him play really good hockey for 2-3 weeks in November, like he is physical. He has a good first pass. He can skate pretty well. Like he checks so many boxes. I'm kind of sitting there going, we need to remember he is at this point on November 28th, only at the 50 game mark of his NHL career.
Yeah.
I think by the trade deadline, he's going to be a fan favorite. I think people are going to love him and Brett Kulak as a pairing. I'm going to give him B- because we got to keep expectations in there, and he's shown improvement, which is really what you want to see from a 24-year-old. He's only 24.
So young.
Remember when we were 24? So
Honestly,
much life ahead of us.
My girlfriend said to me yesterday, "It's like, you know, when we met, we were 23 and 24." And I was like, that seems like forever ago. Now I have gray hairs in my hair. What a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. And you're a mustache guy now.
Now I have a mustache. I'm going to go with a B- too.
All right. Good stuff.
I just agree. Like he's been good. He's had spotty moments, but he is a young player.
There you go.
Good. He's done well. I think he'll keep getting better.
Giddy up. All right, let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line for our first guest of the day. StarMechanical.ca is where you can find them online, residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all at Star Mechanical, and they do it well. When you're in a cold snap like this, you never know when something could pop up. You're going to want to keep Star Mechanical in mind this winter as we bring in former NHLer and former Edmonton Oiler Tyler Ennis for his weekly appearance on the show on this Thursday. Yes, beautiful view behind you. Is that the glare or is there some snow out there?
There's a little bit of snow back there now, so it's starting to get chilly. But yeah, that's Lake Okanagan, and the snow's starting to come now.
It's about that time. It is also American Thanksgiving for today, which is great for people like us who work a very relaxed job because we get to just like watch football at the office all day and bet on football.
Shabuzi.
Right.
And is Shabuzi on right now? I can't believe we're missing the fucking Shabuzi concert for this show.
I have Gibbs playing right now, so I need him to go crazy for Detroit. So I'm keeping my eye on him right now.
That fumble probably wasn't helpful.
No,
not good. No.
Not good. When you were, again, like a Canadian who started your career in Buffalo playing in the States, was American Thanksgiving weird for you? Like, again, it's a holiday, but like as a Canadian, it's weird to like think of this day as such a big day because in the States, they take it seriously.
Yeah, it was weird at first. I was in Buffalo for 8 years. So the first couple years is like everything was weird. The amount of college football they watched was crazy. It was always on TV. And then things like, Thanksgiving, being in November, and they take it serious. Like their Thanksgivings are hardcore, but they're kind of awesome too. Like the food is unreal, and it's just, there's a vibe in the air. It's almost kind of like what we feel as Canadians Christmas a little bit. I know they have Christmas too, but they almost take their Thanksgiving as serious as we kind of take our Christmas. So yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
Would you like go to a vet's house or something like that? Did you have someone who would like invite you over? It's
exactly what would happen. There was always a veteran guy with a family and a wife that cooked up some unbelievable food, and just the whole team would go and drink some wine and enjoy some good food, watch football, and have a good time.
That's good stuff. I like it today. I was driving again. It feels like a holiday because like I didn't do any of my national shows this morning. I'm driving in today with a football game on my phone, and I was like, "Why are there so many people on the road?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that means nothing here." All right, I digress. Let's talk a little bit of hockey. Last week we were talking about Vasily Podkolzin and kind of his fit on that top line with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but he hadn't scored yet. Well, that's changed now. He finds the back of the net against the New York Rangers. And I mean, the look on his face when he scored, he just kind of like looked up at the roof, and you could feel the exhale in the building. But what's that like as a player, like busting out of a slump like that? And is that like a real thing? The cliche is always like, oh, he's gripping the stick a little bit too tight right now. Like, is that a legit thing that a player goes through?
Definitely. I think, again, can only speak on my behalf, but I think it all depends on the situation. You have guys that have a lot of pressure on themselves, whether it's on a one-year deal or, coming off a trade, or maybe they signed a big contract and they got to live up to it. So every guy puts a lot of pressure on themselves, number one. But then there's obviously all these outside factors too. And then if things aren't going well, everything just kind of grows, and it is nice to see a guy like that score and kind of relieve a little bit of pressure. But again, like that pressure comes with the job. So you have to deal with it properly, and it can get really difficult and it can get hard, but it's essentially up to the player to solve the riddle and how can I be successful. So it was nice to see him score because he has been playing very well.
Yeah, and again, even something as simple as like I remember the game against Montreal. He had two chances where he comes into the offensive zone. He's right inside the blue line, and it's like kind of a clear lane for him to take a shot, and he wasn't shooting it, and then he scores from that exact spot against the Rangers. And I even wonder, like, just that confidence of seeing a puck go in from as far out as he shot it. Like, Podkolzin can rip the puck. Like, we see the videos of him working after practice, and maybe now just even that confidence to, like, I can shoot from anywhere and potentially score. And maybe even for him, like, we've talked about playing with Leon Draisaitl, you almost always want to defer to him, right? And just get him the puck. But now I feel like Podkolzin seeing one go in, he's now played 15 games with Leon Draisaitl. That confidence to be like, oh, good things can happen if I'm the guy, if I take over for a brief moment and just decide to rip it. I think that'll be huge for him.
I agree. And I think we talked about that last time. I think the key is to, when you're playing with those guys, still play with that inner confidence and just know that you're a great player. I think he was a first-round pick, and he's clearly a very good hockey player and deserves to be in the NHL and deserves to be where he is. So maybe that feeling of scoring, like you said, is just going to help him even play where he is right now in the lineup. And it was nice to see, because he is a nice piece for that team. Like, he's big, and he's hitting, and he's heavy. He's playing with energy, and he's kind of a nice piece in that lineup, I think.
He also makes $1 million for
yeah,
one.
exactly.
So if it works, and you struck gold there, I mean, you're
super bargain, yeah.
Someone who doesn't make $1 million, but he's playing really well right now, Darnell Nurse. He returned to the lineup the other day, obviously against who they play, the Rangers. Yep. Him being out of the lineup, I think, showed people how valuable he actually is to the team. Like, what did you see from the team, I guess, when Darnell wasn't there, and what he actually brought back to the team?
Yeah, I think he brings a lot. And I think I'm, first of all, impressed that he's back already, because that was a big hit to the head and super dirty. And, I was hoping for even more of a suspension on that one, because it was so bad, in my opinion. But it shows how tough Darnell is.
Yeah.
And that's what he provides. He provides that toughness. He provides just that calm presence, knowing that you got a guy back there that's going to battle for you. He's going to log minutes. He's going to be great on the PK. He's a leader. He's a guy that younger guys look to as an example of how you should play and how confident you should be on the ice. Because I think you could see just the difference when he was in and when he's out. And I know he gets so much flack for how much he makes, but if the Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup, Darnell Nurse is going to have to play a lot of minutes. Depending on how that lineup looks like after the trade deadline, Darnell's going to have to play a lot of minutes. So whether you like him or not, he's going to be a big part of that team winning a Stanley Cup.
Well, and again, I know they are at different stages in their career, but we saw with Evan Bouchard when he played with Duncan Keith, played some awesome hockey, and then the Oilers went out and kind of got Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm to pair with them, and they've never. He had a good run with Tyson Barrie, and that duo worked that year with the run to the Western Conference Final. But Edmonton's never really gone out and spent assets on getting Darnell Nurse a partner, like a true bona fide top pairing guy. Because I do think, again, I love Darnell, and if you want to talk about 9.25, you can do it till you're blue in the face. He is a quality top 4 defenseman. I think a big part of this and a big part of some of his struggles over the last 2 years have been, go get him an Ekholm. Go get him a guy with that kind of upside who can just let Darnell be Darnell and play a little bit more freely, where he's not feeling like he needs to be doing 100 things at once in the D zone.
I almost feel that it might be better for him to not play as free and to have a guy that can, skate and be the guy that is looked on to, be the offensive production. I know it maybe didn't work with Bush, but maybe a different style of D-man where Darnell just says, hey, who cares what my contract is? I'm going to play solid hockey. That's it. I don't need points. I don't need to worry about anything. I'm just going to play solid. And in my opinion, that's what's going to get the Edmonton the Stanley Cup, is not having. I think what's important for Stanley Cup teams is having roles defined throughout the lineup. And when you make $9.5 million, you probably feel like you need to have points and everything like that. But I think for Edmonton to succeed with this roster is going to have Darnell be the solid guy and not worry about anything else. So not necessarily skating pucks out and chucking sauce and, being beautiful on the ice. Just be hard, physical, solid PK, log minutes, and don't worry about anything else.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about Jeff Skinner, because I think he's in a bit of an interesting spot. Comes in on that 1-year deal after getting bought out, and people look at the stats sheet, right? And it's like, hey, he scored 30, he scored 35 plus before in his career. And so far, it's been a little up and down. Like, he has 4 goals. He's produced a little bit, but there's been a lot of points where Chris Knobloch has him on the 3rd line, has him on the 4th line. Would you maybe like to see with a guy like him? Do you see him as a natural fit for either Connor or Leon? And should Chris Knobloch maybe give Jeff Skinner games with one of them to develop some chemistry? Or is this maybe a little bit too much of a square peg, round hole fit with Skinner on this team?
I didn't love the signing to begin with. I don't think he's a great fit for either guy. Personally, he might end up being great and this looks bad in the future, but in my opinion, I just didn't like the signing, and it's because he's had a great career. He's played 1,000 games. The guy's put up crazy numbers. Respect. But I'm just thinking he doesn't skate overly fast anymore. He's not really in on the forecheck first. He's not digging pucks out. Historically, not great defensively. He can score when he gets the chances, but so much goes into that now. Like, you got to help out on the forecheck. Zach Hyman scored over 50 goals last year because he was at the front of the net, but he was also digging pucks out, working hard everywhere, all over the ice. Skinner, to me, he's just not getting to places quick enough anymore and doesn't have that determination or that grittiness that I think is so key, that I actually thought Arvidsson was going to bring more of too, potentially. So regarding Skinner, though, I don't see him as a great fit anywhere if Edmonton's going to win the cup, in my opinion.
And I think the head coach might be on the same page as you with how we've seen the minutes kind of get distributed here. Last one I got for you, and it comes from the YouTube chat, McHigh and Dry. He asked, do you prefer long breaks, or is it too long that you get out of sync? Referencing the fact that randomly here at the end of November, we've had the Oilers go 5 days without playing a game. I mean, when you were a player, would you look at that and be like, nice, a chance to catch my breath? Or would you be like, well, this sucks, I'm going to be kind of sitting on my hands and just practicing for the next 5 days?
I think it depended on how I was playing. If I played really well, I'd want to roll it over and play again and not stop if I was on a heater. But if I was slumping, sometimes it's nice to have a week, maybe have some beers with the guys, watch some football or something, get away, chill. Don't think about everything. But it depends on how you're playing, especially as a team. If you're rolling, you kind of want to keep it rolling. But again, injuries are important too. If guys are hurt, banged up, the time helps. So it really is so dependent on so many different things.
The chat agreeing with your take on Skinner. Podkolzin is in. Jay Skinner, odd signing. Last year's lineup didn't struggle to score. Why add a one-dimensional score? And another thing with that is when Evander Kane comes back, there's another body on that left side that's going to be pushing Jeff Skinner down. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I appreciate that take. Appreciate your time, Tyler. Thanks for popping on as always.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. We will chat with Tyler Ennis again next week on the Star Mechanical Guest Line. We'll get an update on his fantasy football team, because remember, that was a thing.
Go Gibbs.
Go Gibbs. The Chicago Bears are getting first downs.
Oh, yeah. They just got a touchdown.
What? Are you ahead of me?
Yeah.
God, who was it? Don't tell me. I want to watch myself. I have Caleb Williams and Keenan Allen and a bunch of DraftKings lineups.
I'm so nervous about to watch this next play.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Going to be
shotgun
something in a second.
How am I so far behind you? I'm watching replays of Caleb Williams getting hit. Yeah. Was it Keenan? Oh, high five.
He did the chicken dance.
Anyway.
I was exhilarating.
That was electric. Doesn't matter. Bears are going to lose, says 8 Angry Nuns. Yeah, I don't care as long as the over hits and Caleb Williams racks up some points for me in DK.
The Jeff Skinner thing is interesting. I wonder if he can just kind of adjust and find a home next to Henrique eventually. Or I know he has a no trade clause, and that obviously means a lot to players. Right. Mm-hmm. But if it gets to a point where it's like, Jeff, We're going to get around to the playoffs, man, and you're not in the 12.
So, like, the no move is interesting, right? Because I saw people on Twitter being like, you can't just trade him because of the no move. You can't trade him to a bottom feeder. I don't think Jeff Skinner is going to sit there and be like, sure, I'll go to Columbus. I don't care. No, he clearly wants to play playoff hockey, and he's made a boatload of money in his career. So I don't even think he's all that worried about his next contract.
I don't think so. I think he actually just wants to play in the playoffs. Yeah. And credit to him for that. Because he could have easily just went and got another bag. I know he's getting his buyout right now, but he could have just gone and got a better
He could have gone to Utah and probably got $12 million over 3 years.
But if, like, I don't know, say one of those teams who's kind of in, like, they're going to make the playoffs, but they're kind of one of the bottom teams fighting for it a little bit. I can't even think of an example right now. Say Colorado, get in. They need a score. And you're like, Jeff, we're going to trade you to Colorado.
We're getting a fourth for you.
Yeah, second, third, fourth, whatever. Like, will you waive your no trade? Like, if the Oilers came back, or they find someone that can fill that spot, then yeah, maybe it could be an option. But I just hope he figures it out.
Me too. It's a good story. Again, 1,000 games, like Ennis said, 1,000+ games. Like, he's produced like crazy. He's never played a playoff game. Like, I'd love to see that on a personal level, have him have a big moment. But
and for him too, he probably doesn't want the reputation of like, this guy never can't play meaningful hockey because he doesn't play hard.
So I mean? Yeah. If he's going to be in the bottom 6, we did see a couple of good things from him, Henrique, and Brown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And it just goes back to, like Tyler kind of said, you want everyone to have defined roles. And as much as you don't want to look at Leon Draisaitl and be like, you're a shutdown centerman, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Podkolzin is a good defensive line. Those are 3 guys who know how to play well in the D zone when they're engaged. If you look at them and go, you're getting the big dogs. If we play Vegas, you're getting Eichel. If we play Vancouver, you're getting Miller.
Yeah.
If we're playing Dallas, you're getting Robertson and Hintz. If you look at them and say that, you're still going to get some amount of offense because Leon Draisaitl's on the ice, and they can be trusted with a big assignment. They take the other team's big gun. That maybe softens your McDavid matchup, but he's probably getting the other team's best shutdown center. But then if you have this third line, Henrique gives you a good defensive presence down the middle. Connor Brown's a really good 200-foot player. And then Jeff Skinner's there to maybe just chip in a few goals on the third line. I don't know. It might work.
You can't hate it, can you?
But then I also sit there and go, well, then why don't you just put Evander Kane there? Now it's got some jam. And
the Kane thing is going to be very interesting because if the Oilers really, 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 really wanted to, they could just make. Now, this is going to be easier said than done. If Kapanen works, or Brown, for example, you could just go out, put Kane and Brown on your third line, left, right wings, and get another third line center, and then your fourth line. I don't even know if the money would even work. This is hypothetical. It's like Skinner, Henrique, and Kapanen. It's Perry, I guess. Some
cap hits aside. Philip, Evander Kane, Corey Perry, fourth line in the playoffs.
I know.
Is that not like
that would be a side?
Yeah,
have a cap, right?
Yeah. That's something that I'm like, Kane mixes it up. Perry, we didn't see it last playoffs, but he can mix it up. Good hands. Noah Philp gives you a little bit of speed. Can be your kind of third high guy there, or whatever.
I don't hate it. Perry does push Kane to his limit too.
Yeah,
like trying to get the best out of him.
Yeah,
I remember that thing in Calgary last year. Like
I do.
That was kind of crazy. But we're kind of daydreaming on this. But I do hope Kane comes back at some point and just brings some new life into this team, and I think he will because he's going to be healthy. We haven't seen a fully healthy Evander Kane for a while. I'm a believer.
All right, I got something to talk about. Our friends at Oodle Noodle. You see the logo behind us. We love Oodle Noodle.
I love Oodle Noodle. What's your favorite Oodle Noodle?
Tokyo Glazed Double Beef player. They're doing a new promotion this December. Remember last month you had a chance to win your way into the Nation Vacation? Can't wait to meet who won that, by the way. We had over almost 1,000 entries at all the Oodle Noodles across Edmonton. But they are doing their Nudes Miss giveaway. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's free nudes for a year.
Careful.
Yeah, giddy up. They got a bunch of other exciting prizes as well. And there's a bunch of different deals for each day of the week. They got Mega Box Monday, save $3 when you mega size your meal. Great. Double the noodles, double the veggies. Awesome. Toonie Tuesday, $2 for 2 spring rolls when you purchase any signature dish or box. Wing Wednesday, $8 for 5 wings with the purchase of any signature or premium box. Tokyo Thursday, that's what I'm doing tonight. Get a Tokyo Glazed signature box, 2 spring rolls, and a soft drink for $15. Bang.
Damn. Wow, that actually sounds amazing.
So you have a chance to win free noodles for a year. They're doing new specials every week. Plenty of reasons to hit up one of the 14 or 15 locations in the Edmonton area. Dude, guys, says, when are they coming to Grand Prairie? You never know. You never know.
Hopefully one day.
Free Oodle Noodle for a year. Why not? Hit up our friends at Oodle Noodle. Take advantage of one of the great daily offers that they have going for the month of December. I'm doing that tonight. I'm putting up my Christmas tree tonight.
I'm going to go see Gladiator 2 tonight.
But you still have to see
Gladiator 1.
Yeah, I'm going to see Gladiator 1. My Christmas tree has been up for weeks.
I don't like doing it that early.
I don't either, but my girlfriend loves Christmas so much.
You lost the fight.
It was an absolute battle. I think Remembrance Day is a very important day on the calendar every year, so I refuse to put up any kind of Christmas decorations before that. One, because it's like far too early anyway. So, but November 12th was during her reading week, so we threw it up November.
And you keep it up till Ukrainian Christmas?
We do, actually. Yeah,
as you should.
She is Ukrainian. So actually, I remember one year when I was living with my buddy, we just kept it out till we moved out in April.
Well, so that's crossing a line.
Well, it was just, we were like, wow, we could pack it up now.
I like the lights. I like the movie back.
Pack everything up in a couple of weeks. A bit lazy, but
just a bit, eh? 3rd and 8 for the Lions. Don't tell me what happens.
Do you ever watch I'll ask you after.
You want to get to our other guest?
Yeah, but I don't always do much. Too much of his time.
Quit talking about Christmas trees and football.
Yeah, I have a Christmas question though after.
Do you want to ask it to Jeff?
No.
Oh, come on. Let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line one more time today. StarMechanical.ca, residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. As we welcome in our new friend Jeff Marek to the program.
Whoa. Hang on. What's the Christmas question? Don't wait till after. What's the Christmas question?
I watched my first Christmas Hallmark movie the other day, and I couldn't believe it. Have you ever watched one?
No.
It was the craziest cast. It was called Hot Frosty, and it had I can't remember anyone's actual name.
Are you sure this was a Hallmark movie, sir?
Yeah, that's
cross my heart. It had the girl from Mean Girls.
That's so vague. Lindsay Lohan?
No, the other one.
Amanda Seyfried?
No, Lacey Chabert. And then it also had Craig Robinson.
Oh, he's good.
And Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I couldn't believe it.
That doesn't feel like a Hallmark movie. That feels like an actual Hollywood movie.
86% on Rotten Tomatoes. I couldn't believe it. So if you're looking for something to watch tonight, Jeff, since there's no NHL game,
Can I give you guys both? And I've told this one. There's a hidden gem out there. Every time, maybe you guys already know it. Maybe you guys watch it every year like I do. To me, it's the great forgotten Christmas movie. Anytime I share it with people, it's always, afterwards, like, oh my God, I can't believe either A, I've never seen this, or B, wow, I totally forgot about this movie. Have either of you seen Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas?
I've never even heard of it.
No.
Perfect. My gift to both of you, my gift to all your viewers, all your listeners, to Jim Henson, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, a very little known, yet one of the best Christmas movies. I'm not going to bias the jury here and tell you what it's about or what the format of the storyline of it is. But trust me, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Tyler, I can see you already having a peek online and see what this one's all about. You will love it. I have not met one person that didn't love Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. My gift to you.
Maybe it'll be on when I set up the tree tonight.
Maybe.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. There it is.
Attaboy, AP.
Emmett Otter.
I'm more of a Shrek Balls. It's a 20-minute Shrek Christmas episode.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, it's won a couple of awards actually, but I digress. Jeff, let's talk a little
Sure.
Back on the rails here. Tyler in. Everybody sit up straight. Have a sip of your coffee. Okay, here we go.
All right.
What are the Oilers looking to do to improve this team? That's all anyone cares about. It's November 28th, but our listeners, our YouTube chat, they're always asking us about trades. So what are the Oilers themselves thinking?
The Oilers can make a trade right now if they want to overpay. So right now, the Edmonton Oilers are making sure they don't overpay for what they want / what they need. Not exactly a secret. You guys have talked about it, but Oilers fans have been they want one more defenseman. We know that. Right now, though, they can make a deal, but they'll have to overpay to get it. You know, I heard Frank talking about this on your show, and you know, he's talking about you don't see the Byron Middlestat deals. Like, you just don't see that. And the reason you don't see trades early in the season is teams are willing to make a deal, but only if they get more value than they're worth at the time. Okay, like Edmonton can make a deal for a defenseman right now, but the team that's selling will want more in return than what the acquiring team would want, because essentially what they want to do is create a marketplace around trade deadline. Like, I think right now, all things being equal, unless there is a total collapse by the Edmonton Oilers, they're not going to make their moves until deadline. You know, they're still in the mix. You know, there were, if they have 2 more wins at this point, they're in second place in the division. Maybe we're not even having the conversation about the sky is falling. The Oilers need to make a move. Do they need more saves? Absolutely. But I think the Oilers are looking at this team and saying, one, we don't want to overpay. We'll address our issues as long as we stay in the mix at trade deadline. And C, saying to themselves, this is a team that doesn't really get going until January. And this is a goaltender that doesn't really get going until January. I know this is most uncomfortable for Edmonton Oilers fans who have all clearly identified the problems that this team has and want them all to be addressed immediately. The problem is Stan Bowman doesn't want to get fleeced. And right now the prices are sky high for what Stan Bowman wants. So I don't think the Oilers are close to right now or warming up to making any kind of deal to address anything with the team. Not as long as they're in the mix and continue to be in the mix. I think they want to see what happens in that sort of sweet hot spot for the Edmonton Oilers, and that is January, when traditionally this team gets in the last 3 years. That's been the story anyhow.
Yeah. Davin is in, says, so no Black Friday deals out there.
No.
GMs are saying Ivan Provorov 30% off today only. Who's in? But you make a good point about waiting, because the other big benefit to that too is, and you know, right now it doesn't work because they're so banged up, they're operating in LTIR. But if they can get back to not operating in LTIR, and you can accrue, and listen, at this point, maybe they're only getting as high as 3.5, 3.8 million in accrual, but if you can get there and you're getting a Provorov at 50% retained, and then you sit there and go, okay, we have an extra couple million. Maybe you can go grab a depth forward from somewhere. Maybe you can start to dip and shop in some other ways. But to me, I agree. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to get hot at some point. They usually do in January.
They do.
I would wait, and maybe you can make a couple of moves at the deadline instead of burning it now.
Yeah. And, you know, I think they're looking at this team and they're saying to themselves, like, okay, the Vancouver game, the kickoff the season, if they get a save and the goalie's not hard to hit, they win that game. All right. You look at the Dallas game, right, where they played good enough to win that game and outplayed the Dallas Stars, but they lost because hockey, and that happens. There were their stinkers along the way. Of course, you guys know, you document all of it. Columbus, Winnipeg. There have been some clunkers along the way, but I think this team has seen enough of their team to know that, you know, Tyler, to your point, you know, getting injured players back, getting everybody on the right track again, because right now there's been a real discord between injuries and poor performance. Yet they're still in the mix. I don't think that there's any panic. I don't think that there's any rush to do anything here from the Oilers' point of view. I think they really want to wait and see what this team is, and traditionally, this is a team that gets rolling as the calendar flips. So if I'm an Oilers, again, unless everything falls off the cliff, like unless they just go screaming into the ditch, take this one off the road, I think this is still very much a wait and see for the Oilers.
Which team, I know you spoke about trades and obviously it's not going to come for a while, but is there a team out there that you see as like a perfect fit for the Oilers to talk with and trying to acquire a couple of players from there?
You know, I've all season long, I've wondered about the Buffalo Sabres. Now there's been a nice little sort of mini winning streak in California for them. But I do wonder, knowing how many jobs are on the line, if it is another losing season and there's no playoffs, I wonder if maybe panic is too strong, but is there a general manager out there that can be nudged into doing something that normally he wouldn't want to do? If you ask me that question, then I think it's the Buffalo Sabres and Kevin Adams. just knowing how everything's on the line in that organization. It's not exactly a secret. The players feel it. The players know it's behind closed doors. The players talk about it. Everybody knows what's at stake with the Buffalo Sabres. Dylan Cousins has had a really rough season. Jack Quinn has had a rough start as well. You guys were mentioning Bowen Byram, and he may just end up killing them in arbitration if he's still with the Sabres and it gets there. The name Owen Power has been whispered out there as well. So I wonder if the team that's out there, and not just for the Edmonton Oilers, but for anybody here, I do wonder about the Buffalo Sabres, and it's at a number of different positions. And look, like even the net minding position as well. Like you can make the argument, like two solid goaltenders that people are very interested in, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who just signed the extension, and then Devin Levi, who I think we all look at and say that's a goalie of the future, not just for the Buffalo Sabres, but also, cross our fingers as Canadians, Team Canada.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about Team Canada in a bit, but like Buffalo is in maybe a different class because, again, like Kevin Adams has been there for 5 years, and it's kind of reasonable to sit there and be like, if it does not turn around this year, if you don't get going, you're done. You don't get another chance to retool this thing in the offseason. But as I kind of sit here and like flip through the standings, it's a weird time in the NHL. How many GMs are truly happy right now? Who doesn't? Maybe they're not all with their finger right on the panic button, but maybe they're looking around the room and like, where is the panic button? Because I might need it. Like, again, Edmonton, not thrilled with their start. I think you could lump Vancouver in there as well. A team like the Rangers, 12-8-1. Even though they've lost 4 in a row, they still have almost a 600 points percentage, but they're not happy with where they're at. Like, it just feels like there's so many teams.
Rangers are the team. Right, Rangers are the ones that are looking at this thing and they're saying to themselves, like, if it's not for Igor Shesterkin, much like in the playoffs, if it's not for Shesterkin, what are we here, and are we still winning games? And if the goaltending performances soften in any way, who are we? And I think those are the conversations that are happening right now with the Rangers. Like if you're saying like, okay, what's the one team that we look at where it's like, ugh, we really don't like what we have here, and we may be forced or nudged into doing something that normally we wouldn't want to do, it might just be the New York Rangers. Morning cup of hockey the other day, the guys were talking about how much of a fit someone like Chris Kreider would be on the Boston Bruins power play, which at last check, I didn't check today, but at last check is worse than the NHL. I don't know if there's a Bruins Rangers fit there, but I think we're all wondering, okay, as various names come out, where could be the fit here? So no general manager is ever completely in love with their team. Salary caps don't allow you to have, perfection at every single position. But as I look around at, nervous hockey teams based on expectations, I'd say the Rangers. And I think the default for a lot of people is the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's probably for an even bigger discussion, but it seems as if, as everyone says, well, they need to start the rebuild. They have started the rebuild. But the rebuild has Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, and Erik Karlsson as part of it.
Yeah, and I think, again, there's a couple different ways they could go about it there. I think we're past the point of them being able to do some sort of a full-scale teardown. I think I think what's more likely is that they keep going for these young players as kind of like fresh start do-over projects. McCrory was one of them. Yaremchuk, they've been rumored to be involved with.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I'll tell you what, like the one thing that scares teams right now is that complete teardown, the complete rebuild, because it is so hard. It is so hard when you're taking it down to the nuts and bolts to get right back up. Like look at how the Montreal Canadiens are feeling. Columbus has been trapped in this for a long time as well. Ask the Anaheim Ducks how teardown rebuilds feel and how they go and the frustrations that come along with it. Like there's a reality about, still trying to sell hockey games here and sell season tickets. And that, I'll tell you, it's interesting. One of the things that I think keeps teams from making trades early, even teams that we look at, we say, well, they're out of it. Look, it's US Thanksgiving and they're not in, they're a few points back and it's useless. I think we tend to forget like how important it is to make sure that, season ticket holders still feel there's a reason to go to games and their team isn't out of it. There are, assurances that you made in the offseason to free agents about the nature of your team. What's your team going to look like? Here's why you should join us. Here's what we're going to do we're not throwing in the towel in December. I know it's not the sexiest conversation, but these are part of the reasons why a lot of deals or teams don't throw in the towel early. Sure, they'll do it around trade deadline time, but another one of the reasons why teams don't make trades this early is everybody wants to, they're either in it or they want to give the impression to the season ticket holders and sometimes they're free agents that they are still in it and still competing.
Yeah, it is a business at the end of the day. You got to keep people coming.
Keep forgetting that, right? Yeah.
Like there was that Penguins game the other day. I can't remember.
They got blown out on Gravy Boat giveaway day. That can't happen.
So bad. I know. You know what? Can I pause? Just I want to throw one more thing out there to the hockey universe on your show. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, I always go back to that general manager search. And Fenway Sports is the owners of the Pittsburgh Penguins, as we well know. One of the things that I'm curious about is what Fenway Sports wanted to hear their prospective general manager talk about as to how he was planning to handle this team. And it sounds very much like, if we go back, it sounds very much like the idea was put together a team that could try to compete for a playoff spot, like 7th or 8th in the conference, just squeak in, get into the playoffs, give fans a reason to come to 82 games and a little bit of excitement in the postseason, but also at the same time, restock the shelves, not giving away prospects, not giving away draft picks, restock while you still stay competitive in that mid part. So if you think winning the Stanley Cup is hard as a target, and it is, ask yourself, how hard of a balancing act do you think it is? Like, in order to get the job, you have to assure Fenway Sports that you can do both, to both compete for a playoff spot, not talking about going deep, but also at the same time, do a sort of low-key rebuild at the same time. That's quite the juggling act. And I think that's what Fenway was looking for when they hired their, president/general manager.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the show, but I wanted to quickly chat the Four Nations roster because by the time we chat with you next, and next week when the sheet launches, by the way, Daily Face-Off show starts next week. Make sure you're subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you find it wherever you get your podcast from. But we're going to find out the rosters for the Four Nations, and to keep it Oilers-centric, Connor McDavid, lock. He's already been named to the team. Zach Hyman, his slow start of the year. I think there was a point over the summer before the season where it's like, he's a lock. Is he still? Evan Bouchard, before the season, he would have been trending towards a lock. Is he still? And then obviously goaltending, I don't think Stuart Skinner's in the mix, but how many Oilers do you think we see on this roster?
You see McDavid. I still think you see Hyman. I do. The one thing we're seeing out of Canada is pairs, whether it's on the blue line or whether it's up front as well. So I still do think that we see Zach Hyman on this team. I don't know about Evan Bouchard. The one thing that I wonder about the Team Canada blue line is, how many power play quarterbacks can one team have? Yeah. I mean, you can really make the argument that every Canadian power play, Cale Makar should just play the full 2 minutes. I wonder, and this will probably, this could cost Evan Bouchard a spot here, if they just bring in some defenseman whose sole responsibility is to defend. Because what's the point of having, 6 guys that are going to be out that could be out there on PP1 when really Cale Makar can handle all of it. So I think that would probably cost Evan Bouchard a spot. So if we're picking numbers, I'm saying 2 Oilers: Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid.
Yeah, Larkin put together his list over at DFO AB. I think you got it here if you want to flash it up. I could see Evan Bouchard losing a spot to, Uyghur ends up in the top 6. And maybe they still do name Drew. Like, again, if Drew Doughty, if you want to name him, then he's not healthy come the time of the tournament, you can replace him. But I feel like if I'm picking a 7, Drew Doughty's a good guy. He's seen just about everything he could in his hockey career. If you needed to in a pinch, be like, hey, you're playing. The moment's not going to be too big for him. I
wonder about Shea Theodore here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's one of the names that jumps out at me that I look at and say, hold on a second here. I wonder about Shea Theodore.
Yeah.
What's the deal with these goalies? Like, obviously, like, the conversation is like they all suck, which is fair. But like, how are Jordan Binnington and Aiden Hale? This numbers are getting a lot better from where they were. But like, how are they so solid in this conversation?
Boy, the conversation about Canadian goaltender is a long one, and I know that your show doesn't have that much time left in it, but I have my own personal theory, and it involves hockey parents and it involves Hockey Canada. But I'll pause you on that one. I'll tell you what, I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but Josh Raffensbergen from Prince George, who will probably be the first goaltender selected in the draft this year, total stud goalie. I say it tongue-in-cheek, but part of me kind of wonders about it. Like, can he play for the Four Nations, or does he have to play for Prince George the remainder of the season? He looks fantastic. He may even just snuggle into the top 10 of the draft. That's how good this guy is. Listen, I thought that Frank Saravalli made a great point the other day when he talked about Logan Thompson. You know, when you look at Jordan Binnington, it's a sub 900. When you look at Aiden Hill, it's a sub 900. And I don't think it's totally the product of a much more defensively responsible Washington Capitals, but there's no denying that Logan Thompson has been exceptional this year for the Washington Capitals. To me, he's got to be a big part of this conversation. I think that, again, like, we'll see. Canadian goaltending, as we all know, by and large, has completely fallen down. Conversation and a long one for another show. But if I'm picking right now, and if I'm starting a goaltender right now today based on who's the hottest, I'll take Logan Thompson and his .915 save percentage. Thank you.
And track record wise, last 3 seasons, Canadian goalies, minimum 50 games. Logan Thompson's in the top 3 for save percentage.
And you know what? Just really quick, do you not get the sense that, considering how quick a tournament this is, regardless of how much we focus on, okay, who's going to play D, who's going to anchor the power plays, how many forwards, how many pairs, do you not think that whoever's goaltender is the hottest is just going to win this thing?
Which is probably what I think Sweden and Finland are holding on to, is like, hey, if Saros or whoever gets hot, we're good.
It's just so strange to me. I understand Hill and Binnington have both won Stanley Cups and have that experience in like that short amount of time of playing really, really well. But that shouldn't matter right now because they're not playing well, and you wouldn't take a forward who has 3 goals in Zach Hyman because he has 3 goals and he's not playing well. If you're not stopping pucks, you're not really helping either. But also, too, they should be able to outscore their problems anyway.
There's 2 more months of hockey from when we name it to when the tournament is. Like, right now is not going to be who's playing well in February.
No, Tyler, we're Canadians. We need to have anxiety about hockey at all times. This is our default setting. It is the only feeling we know. We can't feel joy. We can feel anger, but we really can't feel joy. What we're really comfortable feeling is anxiety. That is the constant state that we're in as Canadian hockey fans.
All right, Jeff, we kept you long, but we really appreciate your time. The sheet debuts next week on Daily Faceoff. Make sure you subscribe and tune in. Thanks for popping on.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Do yourselves a favor, gentlemen.
If there's one thing you take from this, it's that. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, boys.
There you go. Jeff Marek from The Sheet and Daily Faceoff, our new friend, our new teammate. Always love having him pop on. There was one thing we didn't get to, but we're going to have him on every week. I had like a grassroots question, but we'll save it for next week.
Sounds good.
Save it for next week. There's too much to get to. Wrap up the show for Bet365, largest sports betting platform globally. Download the app, use the promo code NATION to get in on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Liam, football bets for today. I got to check my sheet. I write them all down.
Keenan Allen scored again.
Yeah, I need a few things to go right for me here. If Jameson Williams could catch a long bomb, that would be helpful, and a couple from Sam Laporta. But
do you need a pen?
We're okay. There's still plenty of time in this game. What do you got there on your piece of paper?
Well, I need over 48. They're only at 36, but 2 more touchdowns could happen. What are we looking at for the player stats here? Where's my box?
Amon-Ra's at like 50, I think. You need 60.
Yeah, I need a little bit more from Amon-Ra. I need Caleb Williams to throw for 48 more yards. That might not
gonna do that.
You think?
Definitely.
Should.
There's 13 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, I need Goff to throw for 31 more. The running game's just been unreal. Montgomery and Gibbs both over 80.
Yeah, they've been killing him on the ground. I think they'll throw a bit more here and just try and end this game. But yeah,
it'll be a good day of football.
Yeah, we'll figure out next. Oh, good. Dallas, New York Giants. We can just turn the TV off for that one. That's when I watch Gladiator.
That's what I know. I'm a sicko because I'm still going to watch that game. Like, come on.
And I have money on it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jeff Marek was great. Tyler Ennis thought was awesome today. Yeah. The Skinner take was top tier.
It was good.
That's good analysis from our boy. Can't call him Enzo yet. He hasn't said we're friends. Demers says we're friends. We can call him JD. Ennis needs to be like, you guys are my friends. Meet him. Yeah, that too. Everybody in YouTube, you guys were fantastic. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with that. Actually, it's going to be an extra long show, but we love teaming up with our friends over at Alberta Blue Cross. You protect your memories with Alberta Blue Cross, and again, they are hockey fans. We love working with companies and people who are hockey fans, and especially a local one like Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, make sure you pack travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross. They've got Canada's most trusted travel insurance, and you can have it like this piece of paper right in your back pocket. You can focus on making the right kind of memories while you're away. ab.bluecross.ca/travel. Aaron had a chance to catch up with Alberta Blue Cross employee Kendall to talk a little bit about what makes her a hockey fan. We will end the show with that. Enjoy your American Thanksgiving for everyone south of the border, and oil up.
All right, it's time for our Alberta Blue Cross Meaningful Moment of the Month. Today, we're joined by Kendall, the social engagement manager from Alberta Blue Cross. And how are we doing today, Kendall? Fun fact. This is your second time doing an interview here inside the studio. How are we doing today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm just lovely. I get to hang out with my fine friends from Alberta Blue Cross. So we're here to talk today about some meaningful moments and memories with hockey and the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, my first question to you, shot out of a cannon. How are you dealing with that Game 7 loss from last season?
It was rough, to say the least. Yeah, I feel like we're all still recovering from that. So it was a lot. Frankly,
I don't know if I'll ever be the same person I'll ever be. I still don't feel like it's over. I still feel like they're going to drop the puck for Game 7 tomorrow, and we will find out. Yeah. But you told me you've been an Oilers fan for most of your life. Tell me about where you grew up and how you became an Edmonton Oilers fan.
So I grew up in Brandon, Manitoba, but I was there till I was about 6 years old, and then we moved to Edmonton, and my dad's always been a big hockey guy, so I feel like when you kind of move to Edmonton, you are an Oilers fan or you're an Oilers fan. So we are obviously Oilers fans and have been watching hockey in every season since I was that little, so it's a big thing in my house.
I always say if you live in Edmonton, I'm pretty sure you could cut somebody open and they would literally bleed orange and blue coming out. I know I definitely do myself. Talking about some meaningful memories and moments, though, you just told me a fun little one right before this interview about some Christmas memories of you and your family right out of a Hallmark movie out on the ODR, the outdoor rinks.
Yeah. So my family is actually from Saskatchewan, so we went there for Christmas when I was about 10, 11 years old, and they lived on an acreage, and they were like, our pond's froze. You know what we could do is we could do a big family hockey game. So we all suited up. It was freezing because it's Saskatchewan. Yep. So we're all in layers and layers, and then old hockey jerseys, just randomly whatever my cousins had, and we did this big hockey game and stuff against my my aunts and uncles. We have a pretty big family, and my other cousins and stuff. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones. It literally looked like out of a movie, besides the fact that we were in Saskatchewan and it was minus 40. So.
I guess. Hey, that is, like I said, a Hallmark movie scene right there. I'm a little bit jealous about that. I only go out to the ODR with a couple of my boys, and it's not so wholesome, to say the least, when we're out there on the ice. So you've been an Oil fan for most of your life. Let me ask you, shot out of a cannon, who's your favorite Edmonton Oiler all time? And you can't pick Connor McDavid. I gotcha.
Yeah, I know, right? He's definitely one of my favorites. Probably Leon Draisaitl is an easy second. I think we were all pretty excited when he got re-signed and is coming back. They're quite the power team. And I think I'm super, super excited to see what they do this season. I think you come that close to, winning a Stanley Cup, and I hope this year is just as exciting and is what all of us Edmonton fans are waiting for. We really want the cup. So. And
we were so close, I felt like I could taste it. So you just mentioned that cup run. What can you say about being in this city? And I don't know, I've never watched hockey that late into the summer living here in Edmonton. You're wearing shorts with your jerseys, but you go around the city. Grocery stores, people are smiling. Bars, obviously, people are smiling. People are friendlier on the roads, in traffic. What did you think about the entire run that it did for this city and the Edmonton Oilers?
What didn't it do? I mean, everyone was in such a good mood. You could tell there's jerseys everywhere. If you have nothing to talk about, people always bring up the game. They're like, oh, you watching tonight? Hopefully they win. So there's all of that. And then it's just in general, super good for the city. Yep. There's all these restaurants and different bars and stuff playing the game. People are going out and doing that kind of stuff, obviously going to see the game, supporting it. So it makes this city so much more alive when when hockey's on in general, but when we were in the playoffs and that close, it was an insane energy around here. So.
It was an energy I can't wait to do again. All right, another shot out of a cannon. Where do the Edmonton Oilers finish this season? Will I finish the season with a smile on my face or a frowny one just like the end of Game 7 last season?
I'm really hoping for a happy ending here, with us being able to actually go into the Stanley Cup final and bring it home. We were super, super close in 2005. That was a tough one. I was young and I remember how tough that was. And last year was just super, super close. And I know we can do it. I'm just hoping it'll be this year.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2006 Cup run back there. I was 11 years old at the time. Still can remember it like it was just yesterday. That's exactly how I felt in the 2024 Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals loss. Kendall, thank you so much for joining us today. A big shouts out to our friends from Alberta Blue Cross, because if you're planning a trip, make sure you remember to pack travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross. When you've got Canada's most trusted travel insurance in your back pocket, you can focus on making the right kind of memories while you're away. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Thanks a lot for doing this, Kendall.
Thank you.